One drug that we are hearing about a lot in the COVID 19 pandemic is hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine has been used since a very long time for treating rheumatoid arthritis and SLE. Chloroquine, as we know, is a very common anti-malarial drug. So these patients of rheumatoid arthritis, they give history of taking a tablet Plaquenil in a BD dose for over 10 to 15 or 20 years. So this tablet Plaquenil consists of 200 milligrams of hydroxychloroquine. Long-term use of this drug predisposes the patient to developing hydroxychloroquine retinopathy. Let us see how this happens. So the mechanism of action of chloroquine and HCQ is by binding to the melanin-containing parts of the eye. So that, as we know, is seen in the retinal pigment epithelium and the choroid. And they are also toxic to the ganglion cells. We should keep in mind how much dose is considered toxic. So a cumulative dose of chloroquine of over 300 milligrams and hydroxychloroquine of more than 1000 milligrams is toxic to the retina. Thus we can see that chloroquine is a lot more toxic as compared to hydroxychloroquine. Another risk factor that is very important is the duration of taking the drug for more than 5 years. Other things to keep in mind are a concomitant use of tamoxifen, the presence of any renal disease that will cause a decrease in the glomerular filtration rate, and any pre-existing maculopathy such as age-related macular degeneration. We should keep in mind that the damage can occur without producing characteristic findings on the fundus, and this is why it is very important to screen these patients using a spectral domain OCT to detect them before any irreversible changes occur on the fundus. So when do we screen these patients? A baseline screening at the start of treatment by a fundus examination, vision testing, and a spectral domain OCT should be done. This will help us to monitor the subsequent scans and also to rule out any pre-existing maculopathy or any other contraindications for the treatment. Following which, every 5 years, annual screening by a spectral domain OCT is recommended. Earlier than this, screening is recommended in children, patients taking chloroquine, which is more toxic, or with patients having renal or macular pathologies. So how will these patients present to us? Most patients will be asymptomatic, and some can even complain of a scotoma in the paracentral field of vision. So the disease typically progresses in 3 stages, earliest of which is a pre-maculopathy, wherein there are no findings seen as yet on the fundus, and it is at this stage that we wish to detect it by a screening spectral domain OCT scan. So what will this OCT show us? It will show us a thinning in the parafoveal layers and a disruption of the inner segment outer segment junction. The earliest area involved is said to be inferotemporal to the macula. A multifocal ERG can also show decreased response in the parafoveal area, and a 10-2 perimetry will help us to detect a scotoma in the corresponding field of vision. So from a pre-maculopathy, when the disease progresses to an early maculopathy, the patient can complain of a drop in the vision. And the OCT, we will see that the layers are spared in the fovea, but there is a thinning in the parafoveal area. And this gives it an appearance similar to a flying saucer. And so this appearance is said to be a flying saucer appearance on the OCT. From the early maculopathy, the retinopathy can progress and the vision can be affected very severely. The fundus in these patients typically shows an island of pigmentation at the fovea, which is paired, surrounded by a ring of hypopigmentation which is also surrounded by a ring of hyperpigmentation. And these concentric rings of dark and light pigment give it an appearance similar to that seen in this picture, known as a bull's eye appearance of the fundus. These changes also correlate on a fundus fluorescein angiogram, wherein we can see hyperfluorescence at the fovea surrounded by hypo in the region around it in a ring shape, which also has a ring of hyperfluorescence around it. So these rings of hyper followed by hypo and hyperfluorescence again show the typical bullseye appearance even on FFA. So why do we see this? This island of hypopigmentation is due to the atrophy of the RPE in that area, which usually spares the fovea and involves the parafoveal area, as we remember that the drug binds to the melanin containing RPE. Once the degeneration progresses, it gives a fundus photo similar to as that seen in a retinitis pigmentosa patient. Here we can see the attenuation of the arteries and there is also a peripheral clumping of the pigment. This is seen in the later stages once the retinal pigment epithelium all over the retina is affected. So we should keep in mind the typical appearance on the OCT, which is the flying saucer OCT appearance, and the bull's eye appearance on the fundus. However, the aim should be to detect the retinopathy before these characteristic irreversible changes develop. So once we detect, how do we treat? The only treatment for these patients is to stop the offending drug. Even then, the changes are irreversible and they may not regress even on stopping the drug. This makes the screening even more important. Patients taking chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine can also develop a characteristic appearance on the cornea, which typically is intraepithelial deposits that are seen inferior to the pupil. These deposits give a horizontal branching appearance like the whiskers of a cat, and they might progress to give a whorled appearance starting inferior to the pupil and then spreading out, as we can see here. This appearance of the cornea is known as vortex keratopathy or cornea verticillata. This characteristically differs from the retinopathy caused by chloroquine and HCQ in that it bears no relation with the dose and duration of taking the drug. The changes of keratopathy are reversible. Even while the drug is being taken, these changes might regress on their own, and they definitely regress once the drug is stopped. So we should remember this has a whorled appearance like the whiskers of a cat, and these are golden brown intraepithelial deposits. So this is how the keratopathy is different from the retinopathy due to these drugs, and we should try to detect it at the earliest stage so that we can halt it earlier. Thank you for listening.